Gentlemen, what if I told you that the solution to your thinning hair has been sitting in your kitchen this entire time? That for less than 50 cents a day, the cost of a single gumball, you could start reversing years of hair loss and finally see that thick, confident head of hair you thought was gone forever? I know that sounds almost too good to be true. And believe me, after 23 years as a board-certified dermatologist specializing exclusively in male pattern baldness, I've seen every gimmick, every miracle cure, every expensive treatment that promises the world and delivers nothing but disappointment and an empty wallet. But what I'm about to share with you today is different. This isn't some pharmaceutical company's latest cash grab. This isn't a painful surgical procedure that costs as much as a used car. This is a simple, natural food that you can find in any grocery store, and the science behind why it works is absolutely fascinating. Here's a statistic that might shock you. By the age of 50, approximately 85% of men will experience significant hair thinning. By 60, that number climbs to over 90%. 90%, gentlemen. That means if you're watching this video right now, struggling with that receding hairline, those widening temples, that increasingly visible scalp, you are far from alone. But here's what nobody tells you. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to watch helplessly as your hair disappears strand by strand, and you certainly don't have to spend thousands of dollars on treatments that may or may not work. I remember a patient of mine, let's call him Robert. Robert came to me at 62 years old, absolutely devastated. He'd spent over $12,000 on various treatments over the years. Minoxidil that irritated his scalp so badly he couldn't sleep. Finasteride that caused side effects I won't even mention in polite company. He'd even consulted with 3 different hair transplant clinics, only to be quoted prices that would have drained his retirement savings. When Robert sat in my office that day, I could see it in his eyes, that defeated look I've seen in thousands of men. That feeling that his youth, his confidence, his very identity was slipping away with every hair that fell into the shower drain. That's when I shared with him the exact same secret I'm about to share with you today. And 6 months later, Robert sent me a photograph of himself at his granddaughter's wedding, a full head of noticeably thicker hair, grinning from ear to ear. Now, before I reveal this remarkable food, I need you to understand exactly what's happening on your scalp right now. Because once you understand the problem, the solution will make perfect sense. You see, male pattern baldness, what we doctors call androgenetic alopecia, isn't random. It follows a very specific biological process that frankly is working against you every single day. It all starts with a hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. Now, testosterone itself isn't the villain here. In fact, you need testosterone for muscle mass, energy, and yes, even sexual health. The problem occurs when an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase converts your testosterone into DHT. Think of DHT as a tiny assassin that specifically targets your hair follicles. When DHT binds to the receptors in your scalp, it triggers a process called follicular miniaturization. That's a fancy medical term for something very simple and very devastating. Your hair follicles are literally shrinking. Imagine your hair follicles as tiny factories that produce strong, thick, healthy hair strands. When DHT attacks, it's like someone slowly turning down the power to those factories. First, they produce slightly thinner hair, then even thinner. Then the hair becomes so fine and light it's practically invisible, what we call vellus hair or peach fuzz. Eventually, the factory shuts down entirely. The follicle dies. And here's the cruel truth. Once a follicle is completely dead, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, that can bring it back. That's why timing is so critical. That's why what I'm sharing with you today could be the most important health information you receive this year. The hair you still have, those follicles that are weakened but not yet dead, they're crying out for help. They're like drowning swimmers with their arms above the water, waiting for someone to throw them a lifeline. That lifeline exists, and it costs less than 50 cents a day. But before I reveal it, I need to explain why the solutions you've probably already tried, or considered trying, have failed you. Section 2, Why Conventional Treatments Fail. Let's talk about the pharmaceutical industry's approach to hair loss, shall we? Because I've watched these companies make billions, literally billions, of dollars selling men treatments that at best provide temporary results and at worst cause side effects that make you wish you'd just accepted the baldness. Text on screen. The pharmaceutical hair loss industry, $4.2 billion annually. Take Minoxidil. You probably know it as Rogaine. This was originally a blood pressure medication that happened to have a curious side effect, hair growth. So they bottled it, marketed it to desperate men, and watched the money pour in. But here's what those commercials don't tell you. Minoxidil doesn't address DHT at all. Not even a little bit. It works by increasing blood flow to the scalp, which can stimulate some hair growth in some men. The moment you stop using it, everything you gained disappears. You're essentially signing up for a lifetime subscription just to maintain whatever minimal results you achieve. And the side effects? Scalp irritation, unwanted facial hair growth, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, dizziness. I've had patients who couldn't even tolerate the application because their scalps became so red and inflamed they looked sunburned. Then there's Finasteride, sold under brand names like Propecia and Proscar. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. Finasteride actually does address DHT. It inhibits that 5-alpha reductase enzyme I mentioned earlier. But at what cost? I cannot tell you how many men have sat in my office with tears in their eyes, describing the sexual side effects they've experienced from Finasteride: erectile dysfunction, decreased libido, depression, and here's the truly frightening part. For some men, these side effects persist even after they stop taking the medication. There's even a medical term for it now: post-Finasteride syndrome. Is keeping your hair worth risking your intimate relationships, your mental health, your quality of life? And let's not even get started on hair transplants. The average cost of a hair transplant procedure in the United States ranges from $10,000 to $15,000. $15,000, gentlemen, and that's if you only need one procedure. Many men require multiple sessions. Plus, transplants don't stop the underlying process. You can transplant hair from the back of your head to the front, but DHT is still attacking any remaining native follicles. You might end up with a bizarre island of transplanted hair surrounded by continued thinning. The pharmaceutical and surgical approach to hair loss treats the symptom, not the cause. They're putting expensive bandages on a wound that keeps bleeding. What if there was a way to address the root cause naturally? To inhibit DHT, improve scalp circulation, reduce inflammation, and stimulate dormant follicles, all with one simple, affordable food? Section 3. The Big Reveal. I've kept you waiting long enough. You've been patient, and you deserve to know the truth. The food I'm talking about, this 50-cent miracle that has helped countless men in my practice regain their hair and their confidence, is something you've probably walked past in the grocery store hundreds of times without giving it a second thought. I'm talking about pumpkin seeds. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pumpkin seeds? Those little green things I scoop out of a pumpkin at Halloween? How can something so simple, so ordinary, so inexpensive possibly help with something as complex as hair loss? Gentlemen, I asked myself the exact same question when I first encountered the research, but the more I studied, the more convinced I became. And after recommending pumpkin seed consumption to my patients for over 8 years now, I've seen the results with my own eyes. Let me introduce you to Harold. Harold was 58 when he first came to see me, with hair so thin on top you could count the strands. He'd given up hope entirely. "Doc," he told me, "I just want to stop the bleeding. I don't expect miracles." I put Harold on the pumpkin seed protocol I'm about to share with you. Just a small handful every single day. Nothing else changed in his routine. 3 months later, Harold came back for a follow-up. His wife had actually been the one to notice it first. New growth around his temples. Little dark hairs sprouting where there had been nothing but bare scalp for years. By month 6, the difference was undeniable. His barber even commented, asking what he was doing differently. And Harold isn't alone. I've seen this story repeat itself dozens upon dozens of times. So how does it work? What is it about this humble little seed that makes it such a powerful weapon against hair loss? Section 4. The Science Explanation. The science behind pumpkin seeds and hair growth is genuinely fascinating, and I want to break it down for you in a way that makes sense. First, let's talk about DHT inhibition, because this is the big one. Remember that enzyme I mentioned, 5-alpha reductase, that converts testosterone into hair-killing DHT? Pumpkin seeds contain specific compounds that naturally block this enzyme. The primary heroes here are phytosterols, particularly one called beta-sitosterol. Think of beta-sitosterol as a natural bouncer standing at the door of your hair follicles. When DHT tries to get in and cause damage, beta-sitosterol says, "Not today." It competes with DHT for binding sites on your follicle receptors, effectively reducing the amount of damage DHT can cause. But here's what makes pumpkin seeds particularly special. They contain not just one, but a powerful combination of DHT-blocking compounds. Delta-7 sterols, specifically found in pumpkin seed oil, have been shown in studies to reduce DHT activity by a significant margin, without the horrific side effects of pharmaceutical DHT blockers. Now let's talk about circulation. Your hair follicles are like any living tissue in your body. They need oxygen and nutrients delivered through your bloodstream to survive and thrive. Poor scalp circulation is one of the hidden factors that accelerates hair loss, especially as we age. Pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients work together to improve blood vessel function and increase blood flow throughout your body, including your scalp. It's like upgrading the highway system that delivers supplies to those tiny hair factories we talked about earlier. Imagine your hair follicles have been on a starvation diet for years. They've been getting just enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. When you start consuming pumpkin seeds daily, you're flooding those follicles with the nutrients they've been desperately craving. It's like waking up sleeping hair roots from a decade-long slumber. But we're not done yet. The third mechanism is anti-inflammatory action. Chronic, low-level inflammation is something most men over 40 experience without even knowing it. This inflammation affects your entire body, including your scalp. Inflamed scalp tissue creates a hostile environment for hair growth. Follicles that might otherwise be producing healthy hair instead shut down in self-defense. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with antioxidants, vitamin E, carotenoids, and phenolic compounds that fight inflammation at the cellular level. When you reduce scalp inflammation, you're essentially rolling out the red carpet for your hair follicles. You're creating an environment where growth isn't just possible, it's encouraged. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine trying to grow a garden in soil that's been contaminated with salt. No matter how good your seeds are, nothing will grow properly. The soil itself is toxic. Your scalp, affected by years of DHT damage and chronic inflammation, is like that toxic soil. Pumpkin seeds work like a natural purifier, cleansing the environment and making it fertile for new growth again. And there's one more mechanism I want to mention, the protein content. Hair is made primarily of a protein called keratin. Without adequate protein and amino acids, your body simply cannot manufacture new hair strands, no matter how healthy your follicles are. Pumpkin seeds provide an excellent source of plant-based protein, including all the essential amino acids your body needs for keratin production. You're not just protecting your existing hair, you're giving your body the raw materials it needs to build new, stronger, thicker hair strands. A study published in a peer-reviewed journal examined men who consumed pumpkin seed oil daily for 24 weeks. The results? The pumpkin seed group showed a 40% increase in hair count compared to the control group. 40%, gentlemen. That's not marginal, that's transformational. Section 5. Step-by-step instructions. Now that you understand why pumpkin seeds work, let me give you the exact protocol I recommend to my patients. This is the same method that has produced results for men like Robert and Harold, and I'm confident it can work for you too. Step 1. Choose your seeds. Look for raw, unsalted organic pumpkin seeds, also called pepitas. You can find them in the bulk section of most grocery stores, at health food stores, or online. Raw is important because roasting can destroy some of the beneficial compounds. Unsalted is important because excessive sodium can contribute to inflammation. Step 2. The daily dose. I recommend consuming approximately 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds daily. That's about a quarter cup or roughly 1 small handful. This provides optimal levels of the DHT-blocking phytosterols, along with all the zinc, magnesium, and omega-3s your follicles need. You can eat them straight as a snack, sprinkle them on salads, blend them into smoothies, or add them to yogurt. The method doesn't matter, consistency does. Step 3. Timing. I suggest consuming your daily pumpkin seeds in the morning, ideally with breakfast. This ensures the nutrients are circulating through your system throughout your most active hours. However, the most important factor is simply that you consume them every single day without fail. Step 4. The bonus method. Topical application for accelerated results. Consider supplementing your daily consumption with pumpkin seed oil applied directly to your scalp. You can purchase food-grade pumpkin seed oil and use it as a scalp treatment. Here's the technique. Take about a teaspoon of pumpkin seed oil and warm it slightly between your palms. Apply it directly to areas of thinning, then massage in circular motions for 3 to 5 minutes. This massage serves a dual purpose. It helps the oil penetrate while also mechanically stimulating blood flow to the follicles. I recommend doing this treatment 2 to 3 times per week, preferably before bed. You can wash it out in the morning with a gentle shampoo. Common mistakes to avoid. First, don't expect overnight results. I know it's tempting to check for new growth every single day, but hair growth is a slow process. Give this protocol at least 8 to 12 weeks before evaluating results. Second, don't skip days. The DHT blocking effects of pumpkin seeds work best with consistent daily consumption. Missing a few days here and there won't ruin everything, but consistency accelerates results. Third, don't substitute with pumpkin seed supplements alone. While supplements can be helpful, whole seeds provide fiber, protein, and a broader spectrum of nutrients that capsules simply can't match. Section 6. Results and timeline. Dr. Richardson returns to seated position, warm and encouraging tone. So what can you realistically expect when you start this protocol? Let me walk you through the timeline based on what I've observed in my patients over the years. Week 1 to 2. The first thing most men notice is a reduction in hair shedding. You know that handful of hair you see in the shower drain every morning? That depressing cluster that gathers on your pillow? Within the first 1 to 2 weeks, many of my patients report that this shedding decreases noticeably. Your existing hair is already becoming more resilient. Week 3 to 4. Around this time, you may notice that your scalp feels different, healthier, less irritated, less oily. The anti-inflammatory effects of pumpkin seeds are beginning to transform your scalp environment. You're laying the groundwork for new growth. Month 2. This is when the excitement usually begins. Many men start to see tiny new hairs emerging, those baby hairs at the temples, around the hairline, or on the crown. They might be fine at first, almost invisible, but they're there. Your dormant follicles are waking up. Month 3 to 4. The new growth becomes more noticeable to others. Your existing hair appears thicker, more full. When you run your fingers through your hair, there's more there. The bare patches that used to reflect light are starting to fill in. I had a patient named Gerald, 64 years old, nearly bald on top, who came in for his 4-month follow-up actually crying. His wife had told him that morning that she could see his hair coming back. After decades of loss, he was finally gaining. Month 6 and beyond. By this point, the transformation can be remarkable. Fuller, thicker, healthier hair, increased confidence, that feeling of looking in the mirror and actually liking what you see. Now, I want to be clear, results vary from person to person. Genetics play a role, the extent of your existing hair loss plays a role, your overall health plays a role. But I have yet to see a patient who followed this protocol consistently and saw zero improvement. Every single man has experienced at least some benefit. Section 7. Bonus tips and warnings. Before I let you go, I want to share a few additional tips that can accelerate your results, and some warnings about things that might be sabotaging your hair without you even realizing it. Bonus. Tip 1. The scalp massage technique. Every night before bed, spend just 2 minutes massaging your scalp with your fingertips. Use firm pressure and circular motions, covering your entire scalp from forehead to crown to the back of your head. This simple practice increases blood flow by up to 300% and can significantly enhance the effects of the pumpkin seed protocol. Bonus tip 2. Cold water rinse. At the end of every shower, rinse your hair with cold water for 30 seconds. I know it's uncomfortable, but cold water seals the hair cuticle, reduces frizz, and stimulates circulation. Your hair will look healthier almost immediately, and over time, the circulation benefits support new growth. Bonus tip 3. Biotin-rich foods. In addition to pumpkin seeds, try to incorporate other biotin-rich foods into your diet. Eggs, almonds, spinach, and sweet potatoes. Biotin is essential for hair protein synthesis, and combining it with your pumpkin seed intake creates a powerful synergistic effect. Now, the warnings. There are certain products and habits that actively work against your hair, and you need to eliminate them immediately. Avoid harsh sulfate shampoos. Most commercial shampoos contain sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium lauryl sulfate, powerful detergents that strip your scalp of natural oils and create inflammation. Switch to a gentle, sulfate-free shampoo immediately. Limit sugar intake. Excessive sugar consumption spikes insulin levels, which in turn increases DHT production. That soda, those cookies, that ice cream, they're not just bad for your waistline, they're actively killing your hair. Stop using hot water on your scalp. Extremely hot water damages hair follicles and strips away protective oils. Warm water is fine. Hot water is not. Reduce stress. I know this is easier said than done, but chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which accelerates hair loss. Find stress management techniques that work for you. Meditation, exercise, hobbies, whatever brings you peace. Section 8. Conclusion and call to action. Gentlemen, we've covered a lot of ground today. Let me summarize what you've learned. Male pattern baldness is driven primarily by DHT, a hormone that attacks your hair follicles and causes them to shrink and eventually die. Conventional treatments like Minoxidil and Finasteride either don't address the root cause or come with unacceptable side effects. Hair transplants are expensive and don't stop the underlying process. But pumpkin seeds, simple, affordable, natural pumpkin seeds, offer a powerful alternative. They naturally inhibit DHT production, improve scalp circulation, reduce inflammation, and provide the protein building blocks your body needs to grow thick, healthy hair. For less than 50 cents a day, you can start fighting back against hair loss tonight, not next week, not when you've saved up enough money. Tonight. Go to your grocery store, buy a bag of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Start eating one handful every single day. Consider adding the topical oil treatment for accelerated results. Be patient, be consistent, and watch what happens. I've helped thousands of men regain their hair and their confidence over my 23-year career. I've seen men go from defeated and hopeless to vibrant and self-assured, and I want that for you. You don't have to accept baldness as inevitable. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You don't have to risk dangerous side effects. The solution has been sitting in your grocery store all along, waiting for you to discover it. Now you know the secret. The question is, what are you going to do with it? If this video has given you hope, if you're ready to take control of your hair health, I need you to do 3 things for me. First, hit that like button. It helps this video reach more men who are struggling with the same problem and deserve to know about this solution. Second, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I share hair loss solutions, anti-aging secrets, and men's health advice regularly, and I don't want you to miss a single video. Third, and this is important, leave a comment below that says, "I'm trying this." Make that public commitment. Tell me you're starting the pumpkin seed protocol tonight, because when you declare your intentions, you're far more likely to follow through. And 6 months from now, come back to this video and tell me about your results. I want to hear your success story. I want to celebrate your transformation with you. Gentlemen, your hair can come back. Your confidence can come back. Your best years are not behind you. Start tonight. Your future self will thank you. This is Dr. Michael Richardson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.